So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Starting with Marketing, a webinar series all about marketing. And today we're covering organic Reddit marketing. I have also said that last word few too many times, too many. First of all, again, I just want to say thank you all for joining. This is super exciting that we have so many people already. It is overwhelming that we had so many registrations. It was over 100 with just 3 weeks of preparation. This is overwhelming, super excited. And a small idea of mine to have a webinar series about marketing snowballed like crazy because we already have 2 more episodes planned. In 2 weeks, we'll be covering meta ads with a friend of mine who has an agency in meta ads. And we will be focusing on how Reddit helps with AI visibility in the beginning of June. So if today you're very much looking forward to the AI visibility, we will probably touch upon it, but we'll try to steer away from it because we only have 1 hour. We need to stick to the point because there's plenty to say about organic Reddit marketing to begin with. The whole reason why I started this is because I think that there are so many CEOs that still do not understand what to expect from marketing. I think that there are a lot of marketeers that don't understand marketing themselves. So, talk to CMOs, and maybe you have tried to suggest Reddit to your head of marketing or to a team member, and they said, look, this is not relevant for us, but you believe in it. That's exactly what I started this webinar series for, so that there's content online that explains these things in a very pragmatic way, that explains these things from the perspective of a marketeer, as opposed to, Reddit trying to get companies to start using Reddit. And the same thing for, when we do the meta ads or we do the AI visibility or we do LinkedIn ads, whatever the topic is. It's all about, having marketers talk about these things, making jokes about them, complaining about previous clients, why they didn't want to do something, or mistakes that you saw when you first inherited a new ad account or whatever it is. Just a nice place for marketers to get together, have some fun, have an informal conversation, and learn from each other. Because I think that there are really not enough places to do so. I've tried to look into podcasts myself, and I got stuck at the level of I was looking for a German-speaking webinar, as I'm based in Germany, so I understand those things. And they got stuck on what is the German translation for ROAS. So how do you say return on ad spend in German? And that was the thing that they were talking about for 10 minutes. That doesn't give me any value. Speaking to people like Davis, like I've had in the past, this is so different. Here I can learn things because I think we don't really get to, as marketers, we don't get to contrast our work with that of someone else, of someone else's. And that's exactly what we are doing here today. So let me introduce myself, and so that you also kind of know where I am on my Reddit journey, and then I will be able to give the words to our fantastic guest speakers today. My name is Dirk Stemers. I am a freelance marketeer and interim marketing manager, fractional CMO, whatever it is that you want to call it. I often come in to build up marketing channels for different clients, often startups. And I've used Reddit for over 10 years. 12 years ago, I worked for a startup in Lithuania, of all places. So, Emilis, I'm sort of familiar with your countrymen. And back then, we were just, taking screenshots of our content that we had as a company. It was called Place I Live, and we had all sorts of data overlays on Google Maps so that you could see where you wanted to live, and this would be like a perfect future integration for like for a property platform like a Zillow or something along those lines. And so we would just post those things into the NYC subreddit, stuff like this, and we would get like a few hundred visits here and there, but it didn't really amount to anything. And I'm sure that me saying this already riled up Davies to tell me this is not how you use Reddit, which is exactly the point of today's conversation. And then more recently with Manos from Arkware, who is actively using the chat here. What we did is that we created our own subreddit, and we built this up to about 150 people. And it was the subreddit for the technology that Arkware uses or Arkware enables. And it really allowed us to increase our reach, because even though I would also say that we were marketing our solution too heavily, it was the first place that we got to create as a company where there was a community that only was interested in this technology. And so it was the first time that we had perfect targeting, and with the power of Reddit's algorithm, we were allowed to reach over 1,000 people, which for us was an enormous amount, because on LinkedIn, even with thousands of followers, we wouldn't be able to get the same numbers. Yes, Yanis, as Dav has already said a little while ago, this webinar will be recorded and it will be visible through our YouTube page, which I can link to later on, but there's nothing there yet. But you'll get an email to see everything back, and you will then also get a nice discount code to use today's sponsor, Advite, and you will get an additional 30 days for free to use their social listening tool. So I hope that answered your question, Yanis. So as you can see, I've used Reddit. I know some of the advantages, but I also know that I made plenty of mistakes in this process. And it's exactly this that we can discuss during today's webinar. So now you guys know a little bit about me. Let's get started with the guests. Davis, why don't you take charge?
The mic. Okay, so I'm Davis. I'm from the mystical called Latvia. I see a couple of unicorns here. So if you don't know where Latvia is, like it's in the Baltics. I would say Northern Europe, next to Russia. So I know all the curse words in Russian, just in case. But other than that, I have been Redditor for 15 years, and I say it. To be honest, that's exactly how it happened. I accidentally made my first $1,000 on Reddit by complete accident, simply because I was enjoying things, and it kind of like when I was telling the story, which actually led me to other things. But as I was saying the story, people were like, "How?" The thing was, I was selling keyboards, like keyboards not from 2010, 2000, what was the year, but I was selling keyboards that were old, like 1970s, 1980s old. So that was already like 40-year-old keyboards, and people were paying a good money for that. So you can count how much actually how many keyboards I sold in my first month. But in short, yeah, it actually led me to create the ebook and slowly do this as a freelancer. And later on, it's like, okay, I want to do ads. I really love ads. It's a very cool way to scale things, to measure things, and it was a huge vacuum. And while I'm saying all the time and trying to leave ad space, from time to time there are really cool clients that that really want organic. So I try to move away from organic side. I'm very familiar with that, especially when it comes to attributions, all the kind of issues. Because when I started, LLM was not a thing. So how to measure LLM, like analytics, was not a thing. So I have my own opinions about that. Andreea and Max will not agree with me, just in case. So that's why we are all here. But yeah, that's in short. That's me, how I'm doing things, and who I am. So right now, full-time Reddit advertiser, and somehow I met Dirk. I don't remember how.
Max, why don't you take it further?
Yeah, hey everyone, my name is Max. I'm based in Colombia. I've been doing Reddit marketing for the last maybe 4 years, like full time. Freelancing, mostly consulting with clients and small creators to really big companies, in certain spaces like health, for example. I really take the more of an organic side of approach to Reddit marketing and the storytelling aspect, building communities and things like that. And just been having really good relationships with the brands and the users and Reddit. So just like combining all those things, that's what I do mostly. I also do a few product marketing things on the side. Recently, I'm building Reddit maps. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but it's been doing really well, and been connecting with people from Reddit, the corporate side of Reddit. So they're excited about it, so that gets me excited. Yeah, but just a little bit about myself. I've been living abroad. I'm originally from the US, New Jersey, but I've been living in South Korea, Mexico, Portugal, now in Colombia full time. And yeah, and I do everything here now. So
Andreea?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Salut from Romania. So I'm Andrea. Hi. I'm also on the organic side of Reddit, but I kind of have an idea with a twist. And also, I think the toddler in here, like you guys have this big history behind. I'm almost 2.5 years on Reddit, but I actually started on Quora like about 5 years back, the unsexy cousin of Reddit. So yeah, I know. But it's a good starting point. Like I learned from there like a lot of how to read the pain points and figure out the narrative and what actually lands with real people. And when I got to Reddit, like because I saw there like people were going, oh, somebody kind of really gets it, and I took that and came into Reddit, and it just like it clicked. It just clicked. And I started Thredly then, and I was thinking about this idea on, okay, a lot of brands want to show up, but for me it was okay. You cannot just show up. You had to show up and fit in, and the pinnacle of that is to actually belong on Reddit. And I kind of do everything in that order, like show up, fit in, and belong. And it definitely works. Right now I'm across like 10 industries: B2B, healthcare, travel, D2C. And my real passion is basically in seeing patterns and strategy. So that's why I kind of call myself a Reddit strategist, because I wore a lot of hats before doing this. I've been in HR, marketing, sales, partnership, research. So when I came into Reddit, I came in understanding a big chunk of strategy and opportunity, and I could read it from the business side. And it wasn't just from the marketing side of things, which it kind of helped me. And I hope it gave me a big advantage. And with that passion on the side, it's where I kind of make the magic happen. And just like a few stats, I'm monitoring a lot of patterns, and one of them is how karma works. And like the fastest one is growing like 9 karma a day from the accounts I have, and the slowest one is 1.5 a day. And if you measure that, it's like a 6-time difference in speed. And the gap is where actually the entire lessons are, because it's not about the effort. The effort is exactly the same, but it's basically where your category fits between Reddit and the people in there. So you have to understand where you fit, and after that you're going to see what velocity you have and expect the result in that. So that's kind of a bit about me.
All right, that's fantastic. So I think everyone's credentials have been discussed. So I think that we are allowed to continue to start talking about Reddit, and that people actually understand that our answers might make sense. So just a quick question. You can anyone can ask questions in the Q&A section that's next to the chat. We will answer most of those questions at the end, because it's going to be difficult enough as it is to fit everything in an hour. So I don't think that for people who are passionate about one specific topic that they need any help to get distracted. So we're putting that at the end. And then from the audience, do we need to explain how Reddit works? Because not everyone is necessarily a Reddit pro already. So is there anyone who needs to have some explanation of Reddit as a platform? Could they say that in the chat? Really, one is enough to just quickly go through everything.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Doesn't
yes.
matter.
You know what? I'll just quickly go for it. So, according to some website I saw recently, Reddit has 600 million monthly active users, which makes it sort of the top 10 social media platforms in the world, which includes all of the Chinese stuff that I've never seen myself, but obviously has fantastic numbers. And basically, as a user, there are two different things you can do. You can create posts in subreddits. Every subreddit is a community around one specific topic. So let's take SaaS as an example. I'm sure there are plenty of people in the audience today that work in the SaaS field. The SaaS subreddit has 270,000 people in there. And in every little community, there is every little community has its own little sense of humor. There are community rules. There are prevailing opinions. There's a history in that community. So, for instance, it could be your competitor has been very active in there 3 years ago. They might have done really well or really poorly. That's something that the older people in that community will remember. And so there's like an ongoing conversation in that subreddit. And then you can post in there to start a topic, or you can simply comment to a topic. And what is the unique thing about Reddit is that perhaps even the real value is in the comments as opposed to just in the posting. So that makes it a completely different platform than if you were to use LinkedIn or Instagram or any of those. And yeah, basically as a user, you have two different ways to scroll through all of the different posts, or you have three. Either you just go specifically to a subreddit, you have your private feed where you have all of the subreddits that you are a member of, or you have the popular feed where, you know, all of the stuff that just performs very, very well, and you get everything, including the ones that are outside of the subreddits that you are a member of. And so if that's what Reddit is like, obviously, you can upvote, which is basically the like of Reddit, and the more upvotes, the more popular, the more power, the oversimplification, right? And then now that brings us to the fantastic question: what is organic Reddit marketing? And I'm going to start with Davis. What do you do if you do organic Reddit marketing?
Yeah. So organic credit marketing, I would say, in my experience and in my situation and for my clients, it's more of a PR rather than SEO or LLMs. Simply because Reddit has allowed us to my clients, let's say it like that, they have allowed to my clients to actually create things that they thought or weren't really aware if it's necessary for them, which means like like one of the recent ones, there were very specific issues with the client's device in very, very specific circumstances, and Reddit was one of the places where we were able to find it. So we were actually listening and trying to retrieve all the information from each user. We were actually even doing giveaways. But for me, like in total, I would say Reddit is a collaboration between the brand and the user. So it like that's how I view it, because like I'm way back with the Reddit, like way back before brands were okay with this and were interested. So LLMs for me, it's not really a goal. The goal is to win over each client so they become a brand affiliate. And for me, it doesn't matter if they're going to buy or not, because at the end of the day, my success measure is, at least for me and my clients, is if this negative review or comment became positive, or did we actually make sense and win over this client, like not bribe them, but actually made a conversation that makes sense from both parties. So yeah, that's kind of in short.
Very good. Then, Max, what is it that you do? How do you describe what it is that organic Reddit marketing is?
Yeah. For me, it's like what you were saying that Davis earlier. It's like it's a relationship. It's one of the purest ways on the internet, maybe one of the last few ways to really connect with your audience or your potential users, your potential customers. And this is a really different type of marketing. I'm always in meetings every day with like potential clients and everything, trying to understand what this is, because you see a lot of the information out there on LinkedIn or on Reddit or newsletters. It kind of says all the same stuff if you think about it. Like essentially, you create an account, or like there's so many different ways to go about it, but essentially it's like just if you're a brand or a creator or a small SaaS, it's just your opportunity to really connect with your potential users and your current users in an organic manner, just being really helpful. I hate sounding generic, but it's just really true. And this is how, if you have a brand new product, you just start a subreddit or things like, we'll get into it more, but it's just a really good and honest way to really connect. And for me, that's what it is. And, just tapping into the other subreddits and just helping out, in any way you can, without ever obviously selling or anything like that, but which we'll get into more. But it's just really cool. You get to learn how communities think, what triggers them, what makes them curious, and things like that. So that's what organic marketing, Reddit marketing is for me.
And then Andreea?
So everything that Max and David said are so true. For me, it's a bit different, I think. And I think I need to explain. I don't think I can put just one definition to Reddit organic marketing, because it really depends. It depends on what you're trying to achieve, and it depends on where your category sits, basically. It is relationship building. That's the heartbeat of it, right? That's what makes Reddit work. But in practice, I would say you have a bunch of stuff. It's customer support. You have also the PR that Davis mentioned. You have AI visibility, SEO, brand awareness, community building. You have demand generation. You have the customer research, which is immense because it helps you a lot.
Yes.
in marketing as well. And it's sometimes all of them at once, and it sometimes is just one depending on the brand. So I have brands that just come in and say, look, I want you to repair misleading information on Reddit related to me and fix up my PR in there. And some just say, hey, I just want to build a community, be closer to my people in there. And it another thing that makes it very different is that Reddit in particular has so many people, right? It's huge, and all those people are for each brand at the same you have people in a post that are at different stages of your funnel at the same time. Can you imagine? That's mind-blowing. So you have people in a post that are in pre-awareness and the ones that are already deciding on buying. So if you put that together, it's huge. You come in with a comment and it's like you're at the Super Bowl, and you have an ad in there. But you're not paying for that slot. It's basically you are the slot. You have that comment that can go huge and everyone recognizes you. So but at the same time, you have to belong. And I think that's what we need to understand about organic Reddit marketing. In essence, it's about belonging. It's about you being in the community. And when you're not there at the point, like doing it for so long as a brand, then when you're not there, you're being missed. And when you get to that point, you're doing Reddit good, because people miss you and they recognize you. So that's the biggest thing you can take out of Reddit. From that's what I believe.
I will add to Andrea's point, the worst thing, to be honest, we're going to continue on this topic, but the worst thing about being recognized, you don't actually have any metrics. I have tested almost everything, like all the tools, all the listening tools. I have checked everything. There's not a single tool which can measure how noticeable you're to the community. Just because your comment or post got 1,000 views, 10,000 views, or even 100,000 views, does not necessarily mean that they will pick you up. I have seen dozens of posts every single hour on Reddit, and maybe I remember one or two people.
But you can measure. No. Wait.
Okay.
I know we can get back to this, but you can actually see if they recognize you or not. So
Okay.
specifically, when somebody buys, you can have a form in there and say, "Hey, where did you
Okay.
hear about us on Reddit?"
That is true. That is true.
That's true. Okay, yeah. Well,
And
yeah.
there are even more ways. Like you can actually go on Reddit and put make a post in there and say, what was the ingredient in that cream that we had, or something like that.
Yeah.
You can do specific campaigns. You can
No,
make
no.
yourself memorable.
Yeah, I meant like if you make a post like without any additional sources, any information from other clients, just like easily to test things. Okay, yeah. Off topic.
Also,
Oh, yeah,
no.
I would
Yeah.
like to add one more thing. Sometimes, like with certain clients, when I make brand accounts or anything like that, if you are a 1% commenter or poster, I think that's another good signal, an organic way.
Yeah.
Just shows that, like, okay, you understand this subreddit, everyone knows
Yeah.
you, we're cool. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing.
That's one of the goals I actually have, Max. Yeah.
Yeah.
High five.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and people actually DM you, like when they
Yes.
recognize you, they come back and say, "Hey, I
Oh,
liked your
that's
post, and
amazing.
tell
Yeah.
me more about this." And when you get that, you know,
It
hey,
becomes a warm lead,
yes,
not just
yeah,
a cold, and just like
yeah,
easier
yeah,
that way,
yeah,
because you're
yeah,
just schmoozing, you're just like having a
yeah,
conversation.
That's exactly what I think is so interesting about organic Reddit marketing, because it is either being that super valuable store employee that knows the products better than anyone else and is like
Yes.
super sociable, but then at scale, because the thing is that you feel like you're having that conversation with one person, but because that thread is watched by 20,000 people or 200,000 or a million even,
yeah,
suddenly you being able to say like, look, the reason is why we make these backpacks out of this weird material is because they are perfect in this situation. But indeed, if you're going into the desert, please don't use it. And having,
Yeah.
but like if you're going into the Amazon, there is nothing better than this. I have tried it myself. I have had to
Yes.
abandon a mission because I used the wrong backpack. And that type of conversation is only seen by 300,000 people, and it is so honest and it is so candid that suddenly people are like, okay, if this brand in the future tells me they have the fantastic Arctic backpack, then I'm buying it because I know that they don't lie about their marketing, because that one person, that one community manager did so
From a
well.
year ago, yeah, whatever.
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
And then so I think that is really nice. And at the same time, I think it's like, if you don't like if maybe perhaps it also doesn't fit because you work for a different company, I think another nice analogy is it's like a cocktail party, right? Reddit, because there's so many different conversations happening at the same time. And you just come in, and you also know that if you go to a party and 4 people are talking and you just suddenly start talking, well, did you see the newest Bold and the Beautiful episode? Then, and people are like, dude, we're chugging beers and we're talking about football, then this is not organic.
Yeah,
But
yes.
I
I feel like
this is
Reddit is. Yeah, sorry, Gata. I was just gonna say, I
No.
feel like Reddit is just like understanding what's going on beforehand. That's why it's like, we'll get into this more, but just like reading the room, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a
yeah.
lot of social, but online. It like translates very well, like in real life.
And that's the problem, right? Because as most salespeople will know, networking is not something that you can tell your head of sales and say, like, no, I just spent the last 3 days getting drunk networking. Your head of sales is not going to say, fantastic, Stefan, I am so proud of you. But in the end, it could be the thing that led you to that, €3 million deal. However, no one is going to put that into their CRM and then say this is scalable. And this is the unique thing about Reddit, is that it ends up being scalable, but at the same time, like which is just the issue with community management, is that you waiting 3 hours in order to be able to find a conversation in order to that you can join. That is the tricky part. And actually, I don't want to be too salesy here, but Derek, who is in the comments and has a fantastic name, he has a social listening tool, which I think is really useful to find these type of conversations. If anything, he showed me the product and he actually found me something to start replying to, even though this is not something that I use for my own business. And so if you want to get started with this stuff, give them a check. And if, as you are watching this webinar, you get a nice additional 30 days for free if you use the coupon code INGOODCOMPANY. So just so that you guys know, you have more than just some nice comments and some nice insights from us out of this. Yes, indeed. Thank you for writing the code in there, Derek. So good. So now we have a bit of an idea of what it is. So then let's talk a little bit about the pros and cons, because we're talking about that anyway. So on the one hand, you have the pros of indeed, like, the numbers are there in terms of size, of reach, of impressions. And we have some cons that it's not necessarily as scalable as performance marketing. So what do you guys really like? I know that Davis is very specific about why he thinks that Reddit marketing is so unbelievably powerful, and why this is the only thing that still works.
Okay. So we do the do's and don'ts, or what? Why?
Yeah,
is
we're at the,
unbelievable?
no, we're at the pros and cons.
Pros
still.
and cons. Pros and cons.
Pros and cons. So I like, to be honest, like, the idea needs some edging and cutting, but I have kind of figured out that Reddit is like a group of friends. Like, you have, let's say, even you have like 5 close friends, and there's actually a very good chance that, and it's even actually in biology, each one of your friends is going to have very specific interests. Like, I have a friend who's into physics, and he's in right now he's in IT support. I have a friend who's into music and arts. I have a friend who's into bodybuilding, and so on, so on. I have very different friends, and I'm one of those friends. So I have this kind of persona, let's call it like that. And think it like this: you have like 5 friends, and each of those friends are probably going to have different Reddit experience. Like, even me talking with other Redditors, they have totally different experience, and simply because they're going into different subreddits. One of them might go into cats, one might be in the cars, one might be into marketing. And what happens is, if you win over this one specific person who's, sorry for my French, I hope there's no French people here, freaking moron, not moron, how to say it? If you're really that hard into a specific subject, there's a very good chance that your friends are going to ask for your help in if they have any problems. So that means, like, this community might have only 10,000 people, but these people have 10, 50, 100 friends. They might be even CMOs, they might be CEOs, they might be they have friends or relatives, they might be in some kind of other way. And if you win them over, they might not be even your clients, but if you win them over, you're expanding this list of 10,000 people to like 50 or 100 or even 1,000,000, if you're very good at yourself and if you're good with your job. And that's why I think it's very powerful. And if you mess it up, like recently there have been 2 companies publicly in the news. If you mess it up, like, it's bad. It's very bad. Like, let's look at was it Wall Street bets like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, how it was 10 trillion? Sorry, not trillion, billion, or something lost in by the Wall Street. So yeah.
What do you guys? What does the rest think in terms of the pros for Reddit marketing?
I can go if you. Yep.
Please.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I'm going to keep it really simple, because I think, like, again, I'm going to say this again, you see it all the time, but, Reddit really does compound. I think someone mentioned in the chat, you can't really, the trust factor. In some ways, we're kind of going full circle from the last 20 years of advertising and marketing. I think we're kind of going back to, like, okay, like, I remember, like, my grandma, like, 50 years ago, she's like, I only trust one brand because of this one time, 50 years ago. And I think we're starting to get back to that because of the oversaturation, and I think people have woken up about, like, okay, you're selling me, or, so I think, like, Reddit is one of the, I mean, I'm biased because I love Reddit, but it really compounds. I think, like, everything gets indexed, like, things that are really helpful, and then it gets pulled, to the LLMs. And it's really easy to search. And it's just a great way to, I hate saying the word promoting yourself, but just being helpful, right? That's the most corporate way I could say it. But I think a couple cons that I see brands doing or marketing agencies, because I work with a lot of marketing agencies too, consulting and things like that. They try to get the quick win. And I think like it's very addictive if you get a few quick wins. But yeah, I don't really recommend it. In terms of bots and accounts, bot accounts, and all these things that you've seen and I'm sure you've seen these type of content, but I don't recommend it at all. And like that would be my con to get started or how to get started with Reddit marketing. The slow, long game is really the best approach for any brand if you really want to gain that trust over the long term.
I think that actually fits really well with what's happening in the chat, where Adam is writing that on all the other platforms, there's so much AI slop and there's so much, like every platform now seems to be pushing influencers. And instead, what I want to do is I just want to see if my friends are doing well. They said they were going to Greece on holiday. Awesome. I would like to see Greece because Greece is beautiful. And so what happens is that also, as Heja is writing, it is real people who are there. We have mods, we have real people. And so it is real, it's authentic. It is indeed just someone saying like, look, I am currently in the cycling subreddit and I only ride these type of pedals because it has saved my neck 3 times already in the 20 years I've been cycling. This is something that I would trust. Whereas if I see a fantastic influencer video on Instagram about the exact same product, I wouldn't trust it because I know that someone got these pedals for free and they've used it for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
No,
I
think.
think.
Sorry, I will
go ahead.
add. What subreddit, they kind of have everyone like from juniors to pros, like who have been doing for 15 years. So you have all this kind of variety of people, and you're kind of missing out if you're not in that conversation, winning the newcomers and even winning the pros.
Absolutely. So is there anything that we are missing so far, Andrea, in terms of the pros? Because we have the trust, we have the authenticity, we have scaling of fantastic conversations.
Yeah, I think I would add like the platform itself is a pro and a con, because if you think about it, it's the only platform where you have hundreds of thousands of brutally honest people, and that's a pro and that's a con at the same time. It's a con because it can turn very fast into a PR disaster if you're not somebody that's prepared for that on doing Reddit marketing. And at the same time it's pro because you can actually help people when they're having issues, like they're very honest about what's happening, maybe too honest, but in that way maybe it's something they cannot tell, I don't know, their family or something, and you can be there. Like if you have a brand in healthcare, you can be there for people, and not just to be a brand just to sell. No, if you're going with that mentality on Reddit, then you shouldn't be there. But if you're going with the mentality that I'm here to give, and then maybe people will give back to me, then that's the right thing to do. So I think that's another pro and con we should look at, like it's because it's brutally honest, and you have to take that into account.
I also think that for a lot of companies, being that brutally honest is not something that fits their marketing plan.
Yes.
Because first of all, also a lot of companies also just have products that are overpriced and everyone within the company knows it, and they are also perfectly fine with it. It's just because it's the market standard, or for whatever reason they had to please some person in the management board. And I think that therefore smaller companies have an easier time getting into Reddit, simply because it starts from, I want to make this one product and I just want to share it with other people, like with Davis and his keyboards. Back in the day, it was just, I have these refurbished, I'm refurbishing these keyboards, I have them, who else is nuts about this stuff, just like I am? Whereas if you are Nestle and your CEO might have said something bizarre about water is not a right or anything, then most likely, you have a tougher time getting into such in an environment with such a radical candor, I believe they call it these days.
But they are actually like there are big companies that actually change because of Reddit, which is immense. And when you see that, it's
Hmm.
like you kind of see the value in it because they come in, they see what people are saying on Reddit. And I did have a company that was like they changed because of that. I cannot disclose, but yes, they did. And there are companies that don't. Like I know one, they reached out and I was telling them, look, you have to change this because this is not okay. And it was a smaller one actually, and they didn't want to, and we ended up not working together because hey, that's life, right? But you
I
Yeah.
always have to actually uh see where you're at and to own that fact that if you go on Reddit and you're not prepared, like you said, it's going to turn into a mess
I
very
will add
fast.
something about those companies who do not wish to change. Like sooner, like that's why I love capitalism. Like sooner or later, your profits are gonna dip down, and at some level, at some point, you're gonna like, okay, maybe I should start listening to this person or to Reddit and change my ways, simply because people are voting with their wallets, and that's, I would say, that's the mentality on Reddit overall. Like, let's vote with our wallets rather
Hmm.
than
Hmm.
with our ideals. Like, we do wish to support this company or this cause or not. Like, it's a free world.
Hmm.
Yeah, I also like to add, I think like back to like what I was saying before about Reddit, it's like one of the last platforms where there's so many human layers to it, if that makes sense, like
Yeah.
checkpoints. Obviously we have the mods, right? And there's like maybe 20 mods on like ask Reddit or something. And then not only are the mods trying to take care of the subreddit and that topic, but we also have the 1% commenters or posters. They really care about it. So it's like, we were talking about this funnel earlier, like, there's so many layers of trust you have to build. And that's why I really recommend playing the long game. And it's, at this, Andrea, you were saying earlier that it's one of those places, the customer support aspect of it. I think it's really
Yeah.
some brands I've written about, like, for example, Revolut, they've done a pretty good, they don't own the subreddit, but they work to get the support user of Revolut works with
On
them.
the subreddit.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think like
I have one of
we'll
those.
talk about it. We'll talk
Yeah.
some more about that. But like those are, it's like, yeah, if you don't own
Yeah.
your space, you can work
You
with
can.
with the organic side of it, because you'll never be
Yeah.
able to
Yeah. I
to
have
yes.
like two brands that I worked with the same, like, and they didn't have the subreddit and it was the same, and they didn't change it. It was beautiful. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, you guys have to go and search Max and what he wrote about it because I know you did about this one, right? You
Yeah,
made,
I wrote about a
yeah,
few different companies that are like doing it
yeah.
in different ways, because it's not just one playbook. There's like, you could create your own subreddit, right? If no one, or create the new industry space for that space that you're in, right? If you're in healthcare, you can just
Hmm.
say rainbow hair, and then whatever you're into. Or but if the subreddit already exists and there's thousands of people in it, it's
Hmm.
preferably that you don't go against them, but just work with them and see how you can help out, because it elevates your brand presence even better on Reddit in the long
Yeah,
run.
Yeah.
who would have thought that if you have brand advocates and then or people who have a very strong relationship to your brand, and then you tell them, you know what, all of what you are doing is wrong because I want to just only make money. Who would have thought that that would be the wrong way to go about things, right? Instead of just saying like, hey, look, you guys love talking about my brand. Here is more opportunity to talk more about it and about the good things that we do, and give us the feedback about the things that we don't do well, because then we can take that into product development, right? Who would have thought?
Exactly.
It's actually
Exactly.
quite funny. If you look at Amazon or Netflix, and if you actually find their subreddits for each of their shows, they do not own most of the subreddits. Like, they're not part of it. They're just random people, and then afterwards, like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, whatever, they're like,
Yeah.
how do we contact them on? Like, we don't
Exactly. There needs to be the middle person, cultural liaison
Yep.
or
Yeah.
Reddit liaison person, and it kind of reminds me of this. Like when I talk to clients and things, I always think about it in two buckets, two packages. You have like the smaller brands or creators that want attention, traffic, sales, and then you have
Hmm.
the Amazons or
Yeah.
really big companies that are about to IPO, they don't care about that because they have the sales department, they have all that. They only care about reputation. So when it comes to Reddit, that's from my perspective that, if like Google contacts me, I already know what they're thinking. They don't need more money, if that makes sense. They care more about the reputation and the community aspect.
All right. So because I do want us to sort of respect the time limit and have some time for the Q&A, because I feel like this could easily roll into a second episode, which I would love to do, but let's give some time because we have some other really.
You got me. Pencil me in.
Perfect.
Me too.
So let's talk a little bit about the tools, because we already got a question about this earlier from Linda, if I am correct.
Yep.
Linda was asking which tools you guys use, and as I was answering to Linda, the reason why today we have a sponsor is because Derek saw that Andreea and Davis, who are users of Advite, were part of a webinar about Reddit marketing, and one of the unique things about Advite is that they actually support social listening on Reddit. So basically just making sure that you are seeing every time that your brand, your client is being mentioned, and to find conversations that you can be a part of. If I oversimplify things, that's fair if I do it like this, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I will add, I have tested, I think I even wrote like 5 or 6 tools at that time. And Advite was, I think I'm using more than almost 2 years, and I would say that's the best one. I know like recently there have been new ones popping up. They do not match.
What I think is the most amazing thing is that Davis has been talking to me about a social listening tool that he's building himself, because he's so adamant about getting it absolutely perfectly right. And still he hasn't been able to get there himself, which obviously also limit the time, the whole story. But if he then chooses something, for me, that means this is serious business. And as someone who's also used other social listening tools over the last decade or so, it's pretty rare to find someone who actually also supports Reddit, or really does Reddit as well. And so this, for me, this recommendation from Davis already says enough about them. Derek not only has a fantastic name, but also he's a decent dude, so that always helps. And so I'm super stoked that he reached out to me to see, hey, can we sponsor today's episode? And so yeah, use the code, check out their website. The only thing which does stink, but this is what happens when you have a small company, is that you do need to actually give your credit card details before you check out the product, but you can still obviously always cancel your trial, the whole story. But we all know that getting the credit card from your head of marketing, or just getting your credit card out in general, is the toughest thing. But just believe me, if Davis can do it when he is so picky about his listening tools, you can do so too. And that's all I will be saying about Advite so far, because I've been plugging Derek way too hard. Not way too hard, but plenty. It shouldn't be intrusive.
But I actually want to add something about Advite, because I'm a user and I love it. And what makes it different, because I tried a lot of other tools as well. And when Derek came to me and showed me, I was like, no way, you guys do all this. And the fact is that you have that prompt area where you can actually ask several things. And for me, one of the most important things, because that's what I do daily, I need to see what's going on Reddit related to a brand, right? If something is leading, or there's an emergency, or something that maybe it's a PR disaster somewhere and I don't know about it, right? So if you're not aware of that, and you cannot see it, that's huge, because it can scale so harsh and go on every website. And when you have big brands, that's very important. So he actually made my TRR scale into that, and he helped me create the prompt, which would actually show me firsthand the posts that were soon to be turning into a disaster. And Advite can actually do that. It has that category prompt, and it's just gonna work on what you actually need for that client. So it's not just a general social listening tools like the other ones that you just get some keywords or some ideas. No, it actually let's say it's custom. somehow for your needs, and it works really, really well. So if you are managing a brand that has a lot of chatter on Reddit, and it's not always positive, or it can turn into something different, then it's an amazing tool to be able to monitor and get very fast any threat that might turn into something that you don't want to. So yeah, that's something I use it for, and I love it.
So I think these are fantastic recommendations. Have a look at it. But is there anything else that you really need to use? Because I know that Max is a lot more like, look, it's that fantastic brain of mine, and I have my notepad, and
I wrote that down. No, but for me, it's really about. I know you see this word a lot, taste and judgment, because of AI, but I think you really do need to spend time in certain subreddits to understand.
Yeah.
Like, let's say I had a client that is NASA. I don't know anything about astrophysics, but if I kind of like start, going into those subreddits and trying to see what they're talking about, and then I think you can kind of take that approach, start a foundation, maybe engage a little bit, just see what's going on to really understand. And that's like my tool, my AI tool, whatever you want to call it. But it's just like my brain. I like what you were saying, Andrea, before, like the patterns and really understanding what people are talking about, I think really goes a long way. And then the tools really amplify that for me, at least,
Yeah, same. Yes, I agree so much. Like, if you're not on Reddit and not in there where each of your brands is, then it's pointless, because you don't understand that. Like,
or you're starting from zero, or to get there.
Like, I had a company that they were in this very IT and technical. I'm not that technical, like in writing Power BI scripts or things like that, but it was complex. It was very complex. And we had the engineer, because we were always like in touch with the way we set up is we always have to be in touch with the company. And you guys, I think it's exactly the same. Like, you always need some person to be the subject matter expert with which you have contact. So this guy was in another time zone. He was the engineer, and somebody came in, and he just made a Reddit account just to get help from the company, because he needed that. And I was like looking at the screen, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's an emergency. It's a rollout in a lot of countries. They hit a wall and they need help. What do I do? And me and the other teammates, we spent 3 hours, I think, just going into everything and finding every thread about that and finding the information. We give the guy an answer. He says, yeah, it worked. The engineer comes the next day and he says, oh, that's exactly what we tell them. That's how we declutter this. And we're like,
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
And that's how much value it is just spending on time in other threads. And actually, we went and asked several questions in other ones just to get the answer we needed for that specific one. So it was fun, but it's Reddit, right? So if you're not going to use it properly to that extent, it's not going to bring the value that you want, and it's not going to bring you those moments where you're so proud of yourself and see what Reddit is about. Like, it's very cool just to lurk for 2 weeks, guys. If you don't have an account right now, just make an account and just go in there for 2 weeks.
Yes, I totally agree with you there. Just like start, see, don't be scared. Just say, hey, what's up? I'm new to Reddit. People are pretty understanding for the most part.
Quick note, I think someone actually asked, I think it was Linda, organic engagement in subreddits from brand accounts. Yes, always have branded Reddit accounts. 2 reasons. Just because you like, oh yeah, we suggest this does not mean that they will affiliate this comment with a specific brand. Also, it's actually against Reddit terms of service, and it's actually illegal, at least in Europe, by European laws. I think also by American laws as well. So you would be technically breaking 2 rules at the same time. So yeah, branded account, of course. Always respect the community. If they say no promotions, always do that. Sorry, I'm gonna trying to answer the question and add to it.
Also, Can I add to that? I think a lot of brands, from my experience, have also experienced like, how do I start a branded account? I think that's a really big one, in terms of, you know, some brands don't want to mention like, you know, Alex or username Alex at Google. I mean, that's fine sometimes, but also you can, you know, I had a client recently, he does like AI, and I made it, you know, we kind of like brainstormed some ideas. So, you know, don't try to limit yourself to only your brand name. You can, you know, do different things to kind of like brand yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
Be creative, like spontaneous, be creative. Most are really scared of doing that. Like when I ask them what would be the ideas, they don't. They just step back and what you suggest is fine. So it's funny like that. But there is also something like when you're creating the account, also something to flag about, because I saw this repeating. There are some big brands that start off on Reddit and they use the Reddit domain, like the email from their domain to create the account, which is kind of okay. But at the same time, when you have a big brand, like a lot of people, a lot of employees can make an account, they get banned. And then I saw the situation, I'm not sure how true it is, but I saw it repeatedly when you use the same domain to create a Reddit account, it gets banned, which was like, what? And I saw this repeating. So something to have in mind when you're creating that account, maybe do a test on that domain to see if it's going to survive. Then, like, even if you're not doing anything spammy or something, there is a trigger in there that's going to happen. So you have to check if like a former employee made an account or something like that on that domain, it kind of would trigger something. Did you
that's
have
a
that?
good point. Not necessarily, but I did have another, what was it? I think it was a really small brand that I think 3 years ago, one of their former employees had a Reddit account and they built it up, and then, you know, for the last 2 years, it became non-existent. So there are cases like that where, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, so it's just kind of unfortunate where, and it's just like a pro tip, I guess. Like, if you're a brand or you're a company, try to, like, I don't want to say own the accounts, but like, you know, you don't want to leave that valuable asset just like not being working. Yeah. So
I know.
Just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, do a proper search before you're going into making that account. See if there is anything about your brand on Reddit, like an account, a subreddit, anything, and then just lurk.
Yep.
Very good. So then, because we have time limitations and people have jobs to get to, families to attend to, etc., let's because we already did a whole bunch of do's and don'ts. I would like to go to a very annoying question that I'm sure a lot of people will receive when they pitch doing organic Reddit marketing to their CEO, especially if they have a smaller company. And the question is, what kind of ROI can you expect? Because there's a really difficult question, which is a really difficult question because community management is difficult. Because if I oversimplify, if I put organic Reddit with other community management stuff together, it is always difficult because we already mentioned it is scalable, but it's not something that you can just endlessly reply to questions or something. It is, so you're not just, you know, the customer support manager just gets the phone that has, you know, 500 phone calls a day or however many a CSM person gets, but I know they work hard. Then also there is the question of like how many people are already talking about your company, right? Because you really do need to have enough of an impact that people talk about either your company or your product category. So for instance, we were seeing in our subreddit for pixel streaming, which, you know, new technology, niche within a niche, we managed to get to 150 people in our subreddit, which if I compare that to HubSpot, which recently, like this week, someone who was part of the Reddit team, they posted how successful they were by getting 20,000 people in their subreddit, which to me, based on how much people have been talking about HubSpot over the last 20 years, is kind of low. But at the same time, if this is what a company does, it actually has tons of money, puts way too much money into marketing. If they can get to 20,000, I feel pretty confident about my 150 and the lack of engagement we were having because of, HubSpot's on the stock market. We have nice revenue, but we are not on the stock market and should not be on the stock market to begin with. And so, what kind of, when would you say, this is starting to pay off in terms of money and not purely just in terms of trust and brand awareness and brand experience? Because as we've already discussed, those are really difficult to quantify. And I think that those things that are difficult to quantify, those fall into the category of, those are things you're doing with your marketing team when the basics are running. You have revenue, you have things that you're optimizing, and then you just do them because they are good, right? Like having a customer support person doesn't need to bring in more revenue per that day. It's just very good to have that person, because otherwise you're kind of boned, right? Because there are returns coming in. There are people who are going to have problems. Someone needs to answer those requests. And so it's just good to have that regardless of the revenue. When can you pitch organic Reddit marketing to your CEO, to your head of marketing, and say, look, this is going to be valuable for us?
I would actually look at from analytics perspective. Yes, we can measure things like LLMs, but to be honest, those analytics at least cost, I think low end is like $70 to $80 per month. So that on top of that, the next kind of the easiest way is to use keyword monitoring tool. That's one of, again, it's Advite. But if Advite does not pick keywords per se, it also picks intentions and topics and so on. It expands. But if you need just the keywords, you can actually use F5 bot. It's for free, and it can actually you can kind of check how much your brand mentions have increased, if they have increased. That's one way. The last way, at least the top of my head, is Google Search Console. Do not use the button brand queries, custom query. Do not use the whole brand name. If it's like Undecided agency, use Undecided, not the whole thing, because people don't write properly. They do not write the whole sentence, and so on and so on. So, and then you can actually see the impact. For one of the clients, we saw brand search increase in 6 months by 33%. So that's mean like PSA, giveaway, so on, so on, working slowly with the communities at the beginning. So yeah, that's how I would measure. Of course, like if you're having Google Analytics 4, so on, I would look closely in a very couple month period about organic and direct sales attributions. And of course, if you put your link in your profile, it's going to be a referral with the UTM, of course, then you can track it as well. But yeah, technically that would be most of the things that I can think, at least, besides.
So you're just saying is if you find out that people are talking about your brand, that's the moment to get started.
I would say even before. Like there are a lot of brands who are not recognizable. They have very awesome products. They have the niche. They have the community, and so on. And start today. A lot of moderators are actually totally okay with giveaways, and that's a very cool way to make.
But I think here the problem is very much it's about scale, because obviously there are a lot of different companies that can start with community marketing. But for a lot of companies, I would actually start recommending performance marketing in the beginning to figure out if the positioning of the product, if the value proposition, if those are clear and if those make sense, and start there, and then have that really rough response from the market to figure out whether or not you're on the right track, as opposed to having a marketing channel where where there's tons of opportunity, but it's not necessarily with the speed and with the skill that it grows, because there's a difference between having a small company and occasionally doing a small giveaway and making like selling 5 free units, or having a company where you need to really, generate 100,000 euros before it is considered a real marketing channel. So to give an example, I worked for a startup that had as the goal that it wanted to generate leads for the it was a platform that you would use for metal company and material companies, and it had tons of traffic. It was a really useful tool, and it was supposed to, as a byproduct, to generate leads for these clients that they had. And we had one client, and they were super happy with us because they got 5 leads per year. Because those leads also, like, a lead starts at like 20 million revenue per client, right? And like generating leads is very difficult. So then obviously these 5 leads are valuable because 1 out of 5 converts, and then it's fine.
Beautiful.
But if I sell t-shirts and I sell 120 euros worth of Reddit with 4 hours of work a week, then I think that maybe I should be doing something differently.
I would say it depends on the situation. Like,
of course, and that's why we're discussing it now.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking from my experience, from my clients, and you're like, okay, yeah, like that freaking makes sense.
I don't know. Reddit is slow. It's a slow channel. That is a fact, right? It's not going to convert like day one, but it depends. Like I said, it's a different. It has a different cadence to it. I remember what I was saying about karma. Like, I have companies that have subreddits for, I don't know, 4 months, and they barely make it to 100 members, and then another one just came in. It has a month old. It's a month old, and in 7 days it has 178 members. Like, and they keep on growing. It really depends on your category and your fit on Reddit. It's very different, and then you have to do community, right? Because you have to reach out and bring them to your community in there. So from there, they would come, and you could announce something like a giveaway, a sale. You can announce giveaways on other subreddits as well. That's fine, and it works. But there are different campaigns you can do, like, that would make and would adds to sales. I'm actually working on something right now to prove this point, to make a case study. Hopefully it's going to work, and I'll come back with it to show how Reddit sells. Fingers crossed. But I did see like sales coming from Reddit even earlier, like 3 months, but it's dependent on the brand and how the category fits in there. So that's why you do the audit, you have the questionnaire, you do all that checking back and forth and making sure, like, okay, this is what we do, this is the plan, and this is what you can expect from it. It's very different. And AMAs, don't underestimate the power of an AMA. Ooh. That is very good. I mean, you can get a lot of people from that and a lot of leads just by doing an AMA in the right way. And don't just do it alone. Like, get somebody else. Pair with a company or an expert or somebody else. Do something like that. Like, you have to be creative. I think on Reddit, you have to be very creative and see, okay, what can we do? What can we mix it up? What do we see in other platforms? Like, check out what people are saying about that, like on other platforms, not only on Reddit. Like, go to the news, go to Trustpilot, go everywhere. Just find information. Look at psychological and behavioral patterns. That's very important. Understand what clicks, what's the emotion, what makes them go from awareness to a decision, to taking that decision as a buyer, and what can you give to them as a brand to make them an advocate, a loyalist. Like, imagine how other brands, big brands, are doing it. Like Nike with what do? They do those pairing with big influencers from sports and things like that. Like, that's to put an emotion in your head, right? You have to do that on Reddit as well. Like, send an emotion out there. And why does your brand exist? Ask yourself that and see what the vibe is, and put it on Reddit, but in a humane way. Don't do marketing. Don't market it.
No, totally. I think you have a really good point there. And also, like, I think, like, what Davis was saying earlier, and everyone was saying, like, it's really hard to find that right fit, that right audience, and really resonate with them. I mean, you don't need a lot either. Like you were saying, like, you only need 5 leads and then you're good for the year, right? As you were saying there before. And that's true with Reddit, but I guess it's really depending on what you're selling, who you're trying. I don't want to say who you're trying to influence, but who you're trying to, connect with. That's a more
like who you're trying to click with, to have like within your community.
Yeah, because if you think about it, when you connect with them, you have them for a lot longer time.
Exactly.
It's like, coffee, you get that quick boom and then you crash, but matcha is kind of like, long term,
it's long
longer.
term.
Yeah, so and it's more organic and authentic, and it's really hard to combine all these things also with the brand guidelines, because that's also pretty restrictive depending on who it is and how if they're about to IPO and they want to be really careful. But yeah, at the end of the day, you only need a few good ones, and to build your 1,000 true fans. That's what it really is on Reddit for each brand in each situation.
And the thing is that when you, sorry,
please, Andreea.
Just last thing, when you win those people, like you win their hearts, and they're like them as a community, then you have them like exactly like Max said, on long term. And it's different like when you do something that's today I got a sale from that one, but that person will change and it's going to churn and they're going to be affected by other marketing channels and they're going to change. But when you get something from Reddit, like it's on a long term, they're gonna, if you have a good product, they're gonna love you on the long term side of things, which is really cool, right? Do you want somebody that's gonna change each time, or do you want somebody that's on the long term with you? And again, it depends on the brand and what they want.
And the product.
It's not it's not a fit for everyone.
Good. I think that is a nice moment to start switching to the Q&A section of today, because we all have places to go, and people are already dropping a bit. We are down to 20, which is really not that bad, but it means that there are people who have other places to be as well. So
is there a way to filter it through the upvotes? Because I see like some have 3, some have 1, some have 2.
Filter questions, yes. Order by time, order by upvotes. Perfect. So do we have any resources that we would suggest for someone to start out with Reddit affiliate marketing?
Affiliate, no.
Yeah, that's kind of tough, because like, that's something we don't really want to, you know what I'm saying? We try not to avoid affiliate marketing as much as possible. I mean, I don't want to say there's a time and place for it. If you own your subreddit, maybe, but that's in my case, at least,
To be honest, I know I have worked with 1 or 2 affiliates like who are promoting our brand, and they pretty much make their own website. They do not promote one specific company. They promote like who would they actually trust themselves. So is there a resource? I would say no. I would actually go with the generic credit marketing guide ebook. Even in my website, it pretty much converts everything in one place, and it should answer everything. Just be helpful, guide them to the right purchase. It doesn't matter if they buy from you or not. Just be helpful, and people will know your name and your brand, links, blah 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 blah. So yeah,
and that's exactly what we've talked about previously. Be helpful, be authentic, build that trust, and it's a long-term thing.
Yeah, it's so generic, but it's so true. It's tried and true.
And the problem is indeed that, we also talked about measurability, and that's the whole thing with affiliate. You want to, just drop links endlessly so that it supposedly brings you revenue. It really depends on the type of product, how it connects with existing subreddits, with the size of the audience. I'm sure you can make money with affiliate on Reddit, but I wouldn't be able to pinpoint where that would be a fantastic place right now.
Yeah.
So then let's go to Linda's question, which I think we have discussed. It is the organic engagement in subreddits from branded accounts. Absolutely, yes. Davis already mentioned that also there are legal requirements here. And on top of it, it is just good form because people want to know who the source is. It is the more authentic when you say, like, look, I'm answering this because it's my job, as opposed to I am genuinely very passionate about SAP. I don't think there's a person on earth who's excited about SAP, except for perhaps shareholders. And yeah, it just increases authenticity. Linda, look, if you are still there, could you let us know if your question is answered?
Maria?
Yeah, Maria, so any tools? So we already discussed Advite, we discussed Max's fantastic brain. Is there anything else that's left? F5 we mentioned.
I actually like this one tool. I wrote about it like a couple months back. It kind of like tells you the fastest growing subreddits. Yeah, I really like it a lot because like there's some subreddits, like let's say you're a brand new brand or brand new whatever, or just new to Reddit and you want to get that presence. I found it, which I'm still writing a case study on, but when you approach these smaller subreddits that are fast growing, you can kind of like ride the wave in an organic manner. And it's because like these brand new subreddits might be like 50 days old and it's already at like 5,000 members. It's just awesome just to ride that wave as a brand.
I want to interrupt you here, Max, because Derek is posting my favorite tool for Reddit. It's for Reddit ads more so, but it's the Anvanka GitHub thingy where it shows how different subreddits are related. And for me, this is the best way to get inspired for which subreddits are relevant for Reddit ads. This is definitely a different topic for some other time, but this is a classic, and this is also the beauty of Reddit because there's so many of these classic tools that are just random projects by random people who are just like, I wanted to do this. I had 4 hours time. I made this. It is weird, and somehow everyone uses it.
No, that's great. He also, I think, he did the other one too. It's like a little different version of this. I gotta find the link, but yeah, this is the other one. Yep, thank you.
All right.
Someone posted about it.
What is the most common question that you get asked from clients?
Ooh, that's a good one.
How much is it going to cost?
Well, not just that. That's a good question too. But I think the timeline is depending on like, it could, are we going to get results in a month or in 2 weeks or 3 months? That one's a good one.
Can we remove the posts and comments from those people?
Yo, gosh.
In Germany, you probably could. I have a legal insurance that allows you to remove negative reviews from Google Maps.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not doing it. I'm also not paying for it because it's the tier up from it. But it is a genuine thing because what they do is they send out threatening letters to people somehow, and it is a bizarre industry. And yeah, it is the most German thing of all time.
I read about that. It was in the news a lot. Yeah. Oh gosh.
It's possible. Also, I got a 10-euro discount on a teeth cleaning from my dentist because I wrote very good, very well done as a comment there, and I gave them 5 stars.
Wow. Okay.
I will add something else. Like when brands do not understand, they actually start to harass the mods. Do not do that. Moderators should be your friends. If you have a question or you have this kind of issue, please, you will get banned, and that's the least of your problems. But yeah, pretty much like that's the. Please contact with any of us, and please contact, if not with us, but someone else who is not offering AI, Reddit automation, or some other crap. So yeah.
Good. Yeah. Let's move on. Do any of you use Reddit Pro?
Yeah.
I haven't really. Yeah, but
I tried. It's a little bit too.
It's still in beta. It's not finished yet. So it's still
really?
good.
It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress.
Come on.
It's a big company.
I'm appreciating the fact like that's their
Okay.
they're coming out to say like we are
Reddit
accepting
marketing.
brands
Yes.
and
Yes.
organic brands, and I think that's the first step, right? Let's
Yeah.
wait for the other one. I
Yeah.
believe in Reddit. I believe in you, Reddit. Come on.
Yeah.
Make the corrections. Like they made a correction in the past. You couldn't see exactly like when the post was made, right? And they corrected that, and then they added your audience, where the audience comes from, which is nice. And we now can see comments, views, and because of the work from the Reddit Pro team, so they're working. They're
Yeah,
there.
no, the Reddit tools and all these things, it's definitely a work in progress, because I've been in contact with a few people now because of Reddit maps, and just developing that. That's I just learning that corporate side and product side of things have gave me a new perspective on like how Reddit works and how to go about it. It's just building those relationships too, because like you were saying,
Yeah.
if you have issues with mods or anything like that, you know, I think Reddit is there to help everyone, right? Like, yeah, I think they're doing good stuff.
Yeah, like tips and tricks. Like if you have an account and you want to be sure you can retrieve it, is gonna get banned. The tip from them is run some ads, guys.
Yep.
Run some,
Contact me.
yeah, contact Davis. Davis, go to Davis to run some ads, and you're gonna kind of get a secure. But if you're not spamming or doing bad, no, if you're respecting the TOS and Reddit rules, and you want to have guarantee that the account won't get banned, or if it's gonna get banned, you can retrieve it. Then go with Davis.
One of the reasons why I switched to ads.
Davis, I have a question actually. Like, I know nothing about Reddit ads. Let's say, right? How much would a client start off with, like, in terms of ad spending? What's a good?
Oh damn. To be honest, like
Because it's different from Meta and all these other, right?
so how I would measure things and how I would think about it, like
Spending,
the the spending in like actually a week ago, the same different client was like, how much? I was like, well, 10K would be good. Why not? But initial budget. But at the end of the day, you need to not measure, but think how. Okay, you've put like 2,000. Okay, what's the average seat cost per lead in Facebook? Okay, if it's like 1,000, so it means like if you put 2,000, you're gonna get 2 leads. Like, let's kind of equate everything. But at the end of the day, I think what one of the Reddit marketing specialists from Aleph, their official Reddit partners, but in short, the guy really like how he wrote, because Reddit does not is not really able to attribute directly to the sales. Like right now, we spend 1,000 for a client, and clients well, there are no sales attributed in Google Analytics. There are no sales attributed in even Reddit Pixel. Reddit Pixel actually tracks only 50%, and also it does not is not able to track cross device and so on and so on. So there are a lot of hurdles. But if you look at month like that period versus the previous period, our sales are up by 40%. So
Okay, well, this is good. This is good.
I
Okay.
wonder where did those sales came from.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of people started to Google us or go directly to our website.
How interesting.
So it might be attributed directly, but it might be attributed indirectly depending on the audience. So the budget specifically, I would say it depends on the industry. If the cost per lead is 1,000, how many leads do you wish to feel the impact? Yeah, sorry, that's it, Max.
No.
One quick thing to add here. I think that working with I had a D2C client and we were doing Reddit ads, and what was very interesting was that we were getting loads of sales, but they were all few through conversions. And that, like, the proportion click to view through was so off compared to other platforms, and it just really showed that even though this was a beauty product, it was definitely a thing on Reddit. It was just not something that they would click through on the ads in the app because they were probably focusing something else. But then they somehow did convert, whether it was through brand searches or through that they clicked on the link, the Facebook ads. And this is just a general issue that's very prevalent within performance marketing, especially if you work with e-commerce brands, that you cannot just trust the data from the platform that you're using, because it's all like all of those channels come together. And that's why you have all of these additional tools to sort of make sense of that. But in the end, it is, it is all these different touch points that add up together, right? That's why replying to comments about your brand organically on Reddit makes sense, because it's all of the, people need so many touch points before they convert, whether it's B2B or B2C.
Yeah.
You cannot just say like, hey, we have a fantastic product, buy it. Even if that person is super excited about it, they don't buy it first directly because maybe they just didn't have their salary, like it's coming in 2 weeks, or maybe it's something else. And but at the same time, it's also that trust and all of those topics we've discussed already.
I actually asked people, sorry about that, just one thing to add. I actually asked people like, how do they buy when going through Reddit? And the answer was like, for most of them, that they take the suggestion from Reddit and they actually Google the product, but in, I don't know, a week or so. So everything, like you said, it's so on point. And that's why I think like you should do like organic Reddit marketing, but at the same time you should pair it with ads as well, because
you cannot only do Reddit marketing regardless of what it is that you're doing.
Yep.
I think
good.
both
But
of them.
let's try and respect people's time, because we are desperately losing people here. We're at 16 now. So can you use links? Yes, as long as they are useful and they add to your comment, as opposed to here's a link, I want link juice on SEO or whatever. Do we have anything that drastically moves away from that answer? No, right?
No, I think that's
good. Yeah. We discussed the pros and cons of Reddit, so that is also solved. How to prove Reddit impact to management from posts and comments. Doing branded links or links usually is not okay. Traffic increase is not significant. Branded keyword is only one way, asking a sign-up process. Well, obviously the sign-up process obviously helps, Linda. But I personally don't like this, because I really don't trust this as much, because you could have been super helpful on Reddit, but because they clicked on the Facebook ads just before they bought, they might attribute it themselves to Facebook. And if there's anyone who I've ever found worthy of distrusting, it's a digital user, because if you give them any opportunity to leave the customer journey, they will, even if they are super excited to buy. So that's always tricky. And in the end, for me, something like community management really falls into the category of, it is something that you do because you know it is good, because you have a product or a service that depends on the community. Like with Manos and us, with Arkware, for us, it was very important that we were educating our user base. And we knew that all of these people were really well connected anyway, because it's such a new thing that everyone was connected anyway to learn from each other. So if there is already a community and you then plug into it, and then you give all of this stuff in order to educate them, you are going to see improvements, but it's not going to be, you cannot attribute it the same way that you would do with performance marketing. And so we also saw a 50% increase in revenue. But if I have clients that if I would say like, look, I did it like this, but you cannot attribute it the way that you're doing now, I would never be able to work for them, because that's just not how they work. And that's just really pity. This is massive pity. And I think it's something that also, we're going to see a lot more in the future with because of a lot of other things, that if we are going to talk about that now, we are here still tomorrow.
Yeah.
Linda, did I answer your question, or does our panel have other answers that are very different from this? How do you recommend local companies participate in Reddit? Oh, that's a tough one.
Can I actually? I'm the guy from the Baltics. There's 2 subreddits that actually like local, like Latvian, and there's like Braliukas, like Estonians, Lithuanians, and Latvians. There's a some kind of weird joke about not joke, but like we make fun of each other, what I would do as a brand, I would actually well, it depends again if you're B2B, B2C, whatever. um, I would actually try to figure out how I can make these kind of jokes relevant to my brand, or if I'm one of those brands. There's a I how to translate caro masierini, like it's like a really cool snack. Andrea might be know something about that. Um, it's I guess some kind of Slav thing or something, but in short, I would make a giveaway or a joke, or something relevant that might be with this community. If it's like B2B, um, and if you're locally, I will sorry say it's not going to be possible for you. So yeah, Reddit's very international, and sadly, the
But
biggest benefit has the international ones. Yep.
it depends, doesn't
Yeah.
it? If we
I
cannot
mean,
like
local
it's
dentists, that's going to be tough.
no.
But I do think it's but that depends. Like if you're going to be a super influencer and answer everyone's questions about teeth, yes.
Like
gonna
in
go
You're
a
not
to
going
city
to have to.
specific, yeah. City specific, yes, I think so.
Yes,
That's one
you
of the
can
few.
go in. Yeah,
I think
SEO,
here we have a
visibility.
genuine. The problem here is that you're going to have all of your audience outside of your area because it is a global audience, and
Yes.
I think that if local you mean Latvia, with you guys, or you don't have that, you have 2 million inhabitants. It is below 5.
1.6.
So all right, so I'm
1.6.
generous. Then
But
I think that is unfortunately local, whereas indeed my local dentist here, that is not going to make sense because they're going to educate and be helpful to people who will never be able to visit.
Yeah.
but
And even
if
sorry.
AI visibility is in here, because it's gonna get picked up. And if it's gonna get picked up, and even for the local community, when you do that, it's kind of gonna put you on top of the others because there's gonna be multiple sources discussing about you. Like
Okay, if it's like geographically, okay, that makes sense. Then I
Yeah,
would
I like that.
sure that would work. Whoops.
it would train the model, basically.
It would train a model. Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't actually suspect sales directly from Reddit. Like, oh, to be honest, like if you, I have already talked with several schools in this region. Every single year, at least in the Baltic subreddits, young students are asking questions about universities, and that
Okay.
would be an awesome time to go to freaking get an Advite, get F5 bot, whatever,
Yeah.
and monitor those subreddits and answer as a university, because the crap that universities are putting on their websites is astronomical, um, and people need some clarifications. Um,
Yeah.
Good. Then let's move on with the questions because we are running late
Yeah.
like crazy.
Yeah.
So then, do you think that any Reddit consultant needs experience being a mod? I do not think so.
No, but I think it's beneficial to understand the both sides of it, because you have to understand both sides of the coin, right? I literally have 20 subreddits. Like, some are 10 members, some are 500 members, whatever, right? It all ranges because like, oh, I like this mod, whatever. I think it's helpful because you understand like what a mod is thinking, how the mod is working, and then having that perspective really changes everything to you as a Reddit consultant.
A lot
And
of times it's not one mod, it's like 5, 10, even 15. And they have
just
like semi-weekly meetings or some shit.
knowing how to
Yeah.
communicate with them, and building that relationship. Yeah.
A Reddit mod event. You guys,
Yeah.
they are great. They are great. They're gonna send you a lot of merch at home. Some merch.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you're gonna learn as how to be a moderator, how to communicate with the other moderators. So do go to Reddit mod
It helps with
events.
the marketing side of things. So.
Yes, yes. Go there. Go there. And try that as well. If you're going to do Reddit organic marketing, go and learn about how to be a moderator.
Okay, what's next?
Perfect. That is actually very insightful. So then we have the question how to get hired by Andreea. Well, just reach out to her on LinkedIn.
On
and,
LinkedIn, yes.
How do I pitch Reddit marketing to a potential client? Is there something we haven't discussed? Because that was essentially the goal of today's webinar.
Something additional. I mean, this is kind of like your competitors there, so you should be there too. We haven't talked about that one, but that works too.
I'm so
I would say it's very similar to SEO. Like
Mhm.
when your SEO starts to suck, that's the last day that you don't have a SEO team or you don't have a SEO agency. It's the same. It's compounding effect, and the faster you start, faster you will be more recognized. It's going to be better. And Reddit is growing. Like I have a list of 1.1 million subreddits. There are 145 or something active subreddits. There are 140, I think the last number was 42,000 subreddits that you can target by as an ad. So it's a very vibrant, very big community. And if your competitor is there, and there's actually a very good chance, like based on LinkedIn alone, if they're already there and they're winning your customers over, the 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 best time when to start Redditing was 5 years ago when I started, but the next best time is today. So start today. It's something that you don't want to miss out, even if it takes like 30 minutes of your work just to scroll over, check the comments, just to even be there. It's gonna compound and it's gonna work beneficial for the company. So
yeah.
And on the SEO side, like you actually rank to Reddit. Like I have so many posts that rank even from their own subreddit, that's the brand subreddit that we just started, right? So it's new and they're ranking in there like top result. And you can do it. Like I don't know if I can mention, but I have like an AI visibility tool that I'm using it. And it's amazing because you already have like the questions and the prompts, and they work for AI visibility and for SEO purposes. And you just know the volume, like, okay, this is the volume of people that are asking this question. Let me answer it. Let me put it in there. Let me use these words. And it's gonna pop up there. So you're gonna be the first one in the results. Why? That's the main reason. Like you want to pop up in there.
Good, but that's a different story. That's for our next webinar, which everyone will get some.
You
nice
can join right now.
Sign up, guys.
I would love that. Anyway, so then let's go. I would like to just get through the questions. We did the questions how to pitch Reddit marketing, and then also, is there a difference between starting with B2B or for a B2B or for a B2C company on how you would get started with organic Reddit marketing? Because I feel like Andreea, like if I summarized a lot of the things that you said, I think it's, like you'd have all of your different community management aspects of your CSM, your sales, your nurturing, your educating users, all of those different things. I think that they are all pretty similar in a way. It's just you do things differently because your brand is differently, I would say.
It's more
not because
emotional.
Of just B2B or B2C.
B2C is more emotional. It's different. You kind of
I disagree with that one, and I like that I disagree with that one because that gives me clients.
Okay.
I think B2B is. I think it's very much underestimated how much B2B is all about emotions as well. Because people buy from people, and I think that's very important.
No, but but I mean, when you craft the posts, it's a little different because it gives you the chance to be more vulnerable than you are. Like when you are a B2B company and you are a big one, there's a lot of legal guardrails. I see that like you have more
that might be fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
you cannot use.
That's more the size of the company than B2B or B2C, I would say.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's true. Like it's the size of the company, but I see more like that into the B2B side, at least for me on my end, but it might be different. And like I had a post that was so vulnerable, and that was the one that actually got the 170 community members like in 7 days. It was like growing 178, if I'm correct. But it's just like being able to be vulnerable in a skincare subreddit. It was like really, really nice.
I can imagine. So then Emilis had another question about that he should use should he use three different accounts for three different clients. I think we've discussed this and answered this already. Just use a branded account. Each, we've discussed this. This has been answered.
I would suggest using, if you have 3 different brand accounts and one of them gets banned, both of them are also going to get banned, simply because it would count as ban evasion. Use Go Login. This is not sponsored. Dirk, you need to contact them. But but pretty much like again, I have failed this. So talking from experience, Go Login fixes that. It costs a little bit. They actually have lowered their tiers, but it might work just for you if you have only 3 accounts. So yeah, my recommendation.
And then I think the last real question here is, how do you deal with subreddits that do not want brand accounts there?
Just find another one. There are so many.
Yes, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate.
One.
Yeah, that too. That's also another great option.
A lot of it's as the example from HubSpot shows, it takes a lot of work to actually grow them to the size that you want to have them. Because I'm pretty sure that HubSpot usually spends 20,000 euros on just whichever article that they publish. But yeah, no. If someone blocks you from their party, you just organize your own party, right? Or you go somewhere else. So I think the analogy that we started the day with still fits. So, is there anything outside of a fantastic shouting match in the chat? Is there anything happening that we still need to answer? Because I also have obligations, and I am the one who's happy that we are running late, and I would like to get to my next step. What I do, by the way, want to say to the 11 people who are still here, follow us on LinkedIn, open your emails from us. We have so many fantastic webinars lined up with completely different topics, with completely different personalities. But we always sort of try to follow the same structure, because it's all about like understanding how this works, understanding the philosophy of the people that we talk with. And we always try to get a nice little free trial or something like this in there for the audience as well. Just watch our videos on YouTube, follow us there, comment, share, all of the things. We would like this to be bigger than it is today, even though it's already a lot bigger than I expected it to be, which is fantastic. I loved all of your questions and all of the comments. This is absolutely amazing. So is there anything that we need to discuss? Linda just still says, thanks for the webinar. Happy to hear Reddit experience from real people. This is amazing. Also, maybe after, once we actually close this, you might get I don't know for sure, you might get a form to tell us if we did a good job. Let us know, because I would love to know more about how you guys like this. We are going to post tons of different things. We're all going to repurpose this, how marketing works and how marketing people are. So any way that you help us, we're stoked. You've had links to all of our companies except for mine, but I will probably spam you enough anyway, so that is fine. So I want to thank my guests. My guests have been phenomenal. It was fantastic to see them on the camera, because normally we have a LinkedIn chat with a few other people. So I want to thank everyone who joined. I want to thank everyone who's still left in the chat, and see you guys next time.
All righty.
Yeah.
Bye.
Nice talking to everyone. Nice meeting everyone. Bye.